Hi, this is Anna Imagination. We are going to go ahead and hyper focus today on what I call the life quality metric standards. This is new. I like brand spanking new. So the life quality metric standards is literally an overall life metric that you can use to evaluate the full assessment of your life. And in order to do this, you have to know the checkpoints to look for. If you don't know the checkpoints, then you're not going to be looking at the right place. Words are amazing because their sole purpose is to focus on point. On point. We need to do a lot about talking on point. We're going to bring math into this. On point means actually focusing on the problem, the catalyst, and the solution. Again, that's going to be the catalyst, the actual problem, and the solution. And everything else is a red herring. The red herrings, and it's literally the red herring versus the point. And if you do not have problem-solving skills, if you do not have high-end math and logic skills, you are not going to have an easy time with this. Red herring is symptoms. And this is where a lot of people focus on symptoms and they problem solve symptoms. You can't do that. That's like putting a Band-Aid on an amputee. On point is when you actually address the problem and you hyper-focus on that problem. And that's when you start to see the waterfall effect. All the symptoms then clear up. So a great example of a red herring symptom is anxiety. That's not the problem. That's a symptom. Another one would be PTSD. Symptom, not the problem. And when you are dealing with symptoms, you are in symptom management. You're not in problem solving. The majority of our planet revolves around symptom management with zero problem solution. I'm going to say that again. The majority of our planet focuses on symptom management instead of problem solving. So getting you from a symptom management mindset over to a problem solving mindset is exactly what we do here. It's all we do. And in order to do this, you have to recognize when you are on point and when you're not. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to present you with a life quality metric. The life quality metric is the overall components that make up a quality life. So we're going to call this the life quality metric. And I'm going to go ahead and compose a quiz after this that you can take to measure your own life quality metric. More of a questionnaire survey. So the first thing we're going to look at is your self-identity. If you do not know who you are, you're not going to go anywhere. The order of operations matters. If you do this out of order, again, now we're back to symptoms. You're going to confuse symptoms with actual catalyst and you're going to get off point. So self-identity is the first one. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. If this is suffering, it is the foundation of everything else, so you'll have a poor foundation. Once you have the self-identity cleared up, you will have the foundation for the next one. The next one is going to be your purpose. Whether or not you have a purpose, whether or not you have a passion, self-identity is the foundation for purpose. Purpose is a consequence to self-identity. If you do not have a purpose, it's because you don't have a self-identity. Once you fix self-identity and you build up self-identity, your purpose falls into place. The next thing is your overall, let me think about this for a minute, ability, and this is your skill, it's a learned skill, to overcome obstacles. This is vital. If you do not have the skill, you're going to immediately fall into, well, that is where we end up with symptom management instead of problem solving. This is 100% where the the whole thing goes from this line to a diversion. And if you can see this line here. So what happens is right here is where it completely starts a whole new path. So a person would be going through this line, and when they get to 3, if they are not addressing the right problem, they're going to end up in this alternative line of symptom management. First, it's going to go symptoms, and then it's going to be managing the symptoms, and they're going to get derailed. This is where derailment occurs right here. Now, another place where derailment occurs, and this is really, really a hyper focus on what needs to be talked about. So if you have a problem with self-identity, the first problem you're going to run into is no foundation to your life. That is the first problem you're going to run into. And that is going to be an issue the moment you run into this kind of, why is that not? We're just going to do it this way. There we go. The moment you get into that point in life where you are not at all, yeah, you're going to see a massive derailment with that no foundation to life. So self-identity derails you into no foundation to life. If you have no purpose, you're going to be drifting through life. So that's what you're going to see with this one, is drifting. We're going to call this life drifting. You're going to have a problem with motivation. You're going to have a problem. There's going to be so many, again, we're back to symptoms again. So you're either going to have a symptom life, or you're going to have a solution life. And this is a mindset. This is 100% a mindset. So if you're nourishing the solution life, you're fine. If you're nourishing a symptom life, things are going to be really, really not great for you. So the first symptom to self-identity, it's going to derail you to no foundation to life. Then with purpose, you're going to drift, life drifting. With learn skill to overcome obstacles, you're going to experience symptom management instead of problem solving. And this is really where things go to haywire. The next thing, if you are on par with this one, the next step in life is, I'm going to call this steering. Steering is fantastic. I'm going to call it strategic steering. And the reason why I say strategic steering is because once you understand what obstacles you're going to overcome, one of the very first things you end up realizing in that kind of a mindset is that strategic steering is something that allows you to assess if you need to change your course or not. If you don't know how to change your course when you need it, you're not going to be able to navigate. So a problem with strategic steering is straying off course. And this is absolutely 100% true. If you are somebody who, yeah, there you go. So now you have straying off course. You're going to get derailed. You're going to lose yourself. I have to sneeze. One moment. Excuse me. I found out that I can just mute it instead of like undoing the headphones and looking at my, see, growth and learn. So after strategic steering, that is where, and this is a big part that a lot of people do not know how to do. It's called enjoyment and savor. This is a skill. And if you do not know how to do this skill, this is a really, really big deal. This is like the mother lode of all skills. If you do not know how to do this skill, what's going to happen is when you get to your enjoyment, you are not going to feel fulfilled. You will never feel fulfilled. It's quite extraordinary how powerful this is. So without this, you will feel unhappy and unfulfilled. Let's say unsatisfied. And this is it. This is it. This is your life metric. And being able to identify each stage and managing it is vital to living a solution life to get to happiness versus one where everything is derailed, nothing is where it should be, and it's a completely different kind of life. So when you look at it this way, there are people who, and here's the thing, if you have no identity, you're going to feel all five of these things. If you have no purpose in life, you're going to feel all four of these things. If you have problems with learning skills to overcome obstacles, you're going to struggle with symptom management, straying off course, and feel unhappy and satisfied. And this is the big picture of the life quality metric. This truly is. And it's prerequisitional. That means that every one of these is a catalyst to the next. This is chain reaction science. This is what this is. This is chain reaction science. It is using chain reaction knowledge with catalyst, symptom, cause, and effect. These are all the different names for it that society has invented. Catalyst, symptom, cause, and effect. That once you understand the science, you can use it strategically to get an outcome. Let's say a desired outcome. And the order of operations is vital. I cannot emphasize that to you enough. So with the healing garden and with human propagation, vitology, what we do is we focus on the solution life. We get you on self-identity with Triadic Healing Part 1. We get you on purpose with Triadic Healing Part 1. With Triadic Healing Part 2, we cover learn skill to overcome obstacles. We actually cover that in both 1 and 2. And then we have strategic steering, which is all Triadic Healing Part 2 and Part 3. And then enjoyment and savoring is something we cover through the whole Triadic Healing experience. And when people tell us which of these 5 problems is your symptoms, we know exactly where their gap is immediately. If you are someone who has no foundation to life, if you feel unfulfilled, undefined, if you don't know who you are, self-identity is your problem, which means you're going to have all 5 of these problems. And this is the most amazing part of this entire thing is the symptoms. So this is the metric, but there's another wall that's happening here. And when you understand this wall, it's terrifying. It's amazingly predictable. This is something that I'm going to go ahead and line it up here. And this is called the progression of mental illness. Are you ready? Codependency is the first one. Every one of these is a chain reaction to the next. Every single one. I have no idea what happened. It does that often. I do that often. There's one more in here. This right here is where depression starts. This is where anxiety And there's two ways you can go with this. There's literally only two ways you can go with this. So you're going to have people who are very much, and this is going to be dependent upon if you are assertive or passive. That's it, assertive or passive. And it's a spectrum. So if you are, we're going to go ahead and do this. This is passivity. I love this part of psychology. This is what really like blows my mind away when I write all this out. So you have passivity here. And then over here, this is called Pythagorean psychology, by the way. This is not Freudian psychology. Fuck Freudian psychology. It's garbage. So this is Pythagorean psychology. It's 2,000 years old. Pythagoras was the founder of psychology, not Freud. So, and then you have assertiveness. Well, no, it's actually aggression. So you have passivity over there, you have aggression over here. And the more passive you are, the more you're going to be hanging out on the other side of this. And then you have passive aggressive, where you're both, and that's borderline. That's like right in the middle of it here. So where you go in this is going to completely depend upon, I'm going to move this up here. So there you go. All right, we're going to go ahead and like drop this down just a bit so we have more room here. So this is a chain reaction. This is literally a where you are on the spectrum tells a person precisely where they are in the advancement of this entire thing. So if you have signs of narcissism, depending upon the stage of narcissism that you have, it's going to determine your level of codependency, depression, addiction to control, anxiety. And there's only one kind of addiction. There's only one addiction, and that's addiction to control. How that control manifests is irrelevant. It's just an addiction to control. And it could be, there is nothing else here. It's addiction to control. And once you change your mindset on how that manifested itself, it's a completely different. So this is the mindset. This is really what it is. And I really want to emphasize here, this is stage 3 narcissism. And this is stage 1 narcissism. And then borderline is stage 2 narcissism. Yep. And then we are going to have a high empath, which is actually, it's false empathy. We're going to call it false empathy, which is the, I can feel other people's feelings. No, you can't. That's called, that is 100% projecting yourself into another's story. It's called identity displacement, which is what narcissism is. It's identity displacement. You can feel their emotions because you put yourself in someone else's story through identity displacement. It's called double projection. And it's what you do, what any person does whenever we watch a movie or a book, is we are projecting our identity or the self into another story so we can consume the environment of that story. The discipline is teaching yourself how to be objective and also keeping yourself from projecting. It's called mental discipline. When you lack this mental discipline, you project yourself into other stories all the time. It's third person perspective living. That is what it is. In fact, we're going to put it down here. It's third person point of view living. And that is really, really prevalent from this stage on. And then over here, we have first person point of view living. Actually, up here is where first person point of view living is. This is first person point of view living. When you are mentally healthy, you live in the first person, not the third person. When you are unstable and mentally unhealthy, because you are living a symptom life, one of the consequences is you get into third person living. So once you understand how you are living either in the first person or the third person, it's going to completely change everything. And what else is there? I believe that's it. And schizophrenia is not on the charts. That's bullshit. ADHD is a symptom. Again, those are symptoms. Yeah, schizophrenia is something completely different. That doesn't even go on this chart. And what else? Is there anything else? Codependency, addiction to control, depression, anxiety. That's for emotional management. The delusion. Delusion means dangerous illusion, dangerous belief. That is what delusion means. Dangerous illusion. So a delusion that you can't save yourself. And then projected need to save others, that's due to the addiction to control, but that's where the symptom manifests itself in the late stages of narcissism. Now there's another one. This is the ethical path. This is the ethical path. The ethical path. There is one other ethical path or one other path that I do not have here, which is the unethical path. So this is the ethical path. I'm going to call this the derailed ethical path. And then there is the realized, we're going to call it actualized, the actualized ethical path. So you have the actualized ethical path, which is up here. And then you have the derailed ethical path, which is mental illness. And then there's the unethical path, which is not even on here. And that's stage 4 narcissism. That's where they deliberately use narcissism strategically as a weapon. And that's where you get into people who know what they're doing and they enjoy it. So being able to recognize when you're dealing with somebody who's ethically a narcissist, an ethical narcissist versus an unethical narcissist is a big fucking deal. A lot of people are confusing ethical narcissists with unethical narcissists, and they are entirely different creatures. So to put these over here, these are not on the, we're going to go ahead and call these unethical narcissists. We're going to put this under schizophrenia as well. This is something else that is not understood, and it's completely does not belong on this list. And multiple personalities, where would I put my people? Where would they be on this list? See, that's a symptom. That's like a that's absolutely a symptom. Yeah, I'm going to put it here. That is a symptom of absolute, that's like amnesia, memory loss, PTSD. PTSD are all over here as well. These are symptoms that are literally behavioral defenses. So these are behavioral defenses designed to keep you safe. Amnesia, that's another one. Those are behavioral defenses. Schizophrenia is physics. That's just physics. That's just physics. That's not even a mental system. That's just physics. And then unethical narcissists is something completely different. I don't like to talk about it, but that's a whole nother project. That's where we get into criminal. This is 100% where we get into the criminal mind. That there is no other way for that. That is the criminal mind. There you go. That's criminal forensics. There we are. There it is. So yeah, that is a great snapshot of what this entire thing looks like. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't. I don't want to go 50% with it. That's obnoxious. Can I don't want to zoom in. How do I zoom out? Oh, I use the negative thing. Isn't that handy dandy? All right, so here we go. Here we are. So this is literally when you, I'm going to go over now to the little laser beam. This is where you want to be in life. You want to do the actualized ethical path. You want the first person point of view living, and it's solution life. This is your self-identity defined. You have a purpose. You have a learned skill to overcome obstacles. You have strategic steering, and you know the skill of enjoyment and savoring. And every time we get off of that life path, we get into symptoms of no foundation to life, life drifting, symptom management. We get straying off of life course, and we get feeling happy and satisfied. Now, if you got these 4 symptoms right here down, I'm going to give my lasers a minute here. Okay, so right here, if you are right here in this area, you are going to be perfectly fine with everything else, but you're probably going to have problems with staying on life course. And you might have to constantly do a lot of work to get yourself on strategic life. If you have all of these and you're still not happy, this is the problem. This is definitely the problem, is you do not know the skill of enjoying and savoring. So these are the 5 life skills that once you have them mastered, the whole thing just falls right into place. Now, if you don't have these life skills mastered, you're going to fall into the line of mental illness, which is down here. And now you're going to look into codependency. And everything else, by the way, is a symptom. These are the non-symptoms. These are the stages of progression. Everything else is a symptom. So there's a difference between these are the heightened catalysts and everything else is just a reflection off of it. So this basically allows you to mark. If you are here, oh, well, there you go. That tells you a lot. Now, if you have no self-identity, then as you progress down this line, what's going to happen is this. What I really needed to do is draw this line down to here. And then this has a progression. So as you live on this line, you are eventually going to get to stage 3. Now, if you are here, it's going to bring you down here. And it's going to, this is now the new beginning here. And it's going to start you down this line. So this point is relative to either here, or it's relative to here. It's relative to here. It's relative to here. And it's relative to here. So if you have no identity, right off, you're going to drop down into the progression of mental illness. And if you are passive, you're going to stay here. If you ever move into passive aggression, now you're going to start along the aggression. There's a lot of people who will never turn into aggression. So they will literally just sit here. They will get stuck in that stage. And then there are other people who will branch off and they will get into the aggression side. And then they'll get into the transition, which is passive aggression, borderline personality disorder, the false empath. And then there's the aggression side with narcissism. If you are a borderline personality disorder diagnosed, if you claim that you are a false or that you are an empath, then you are already in the passive aggression stage. And the next one is stage 3 of narcissism, which is the aggression stage. All the symptoms that result come later. All the other stuff is 100%. If you have problems with anxiety, if you have problems with sleeping, if you have, those are all distractions. Those are all red herrings. They are off point. On point are these 5 things. This is where you need to focus your attention for a solution. But the biggest problem right here is, are you on the solution concept? And this is where a lot of people are. This right here is the problem. Is that learned skill to overcome obstacles, or are you living in the symptom? And if you have the ability to problem solve, then you're going to problem solve at point 1. You're going to problem solve at point 2. You're going to problem solve at point 3. So even though 3 is the third stage, you're going to be using that third stage literally for every aspect of your life, which is why people get into a catch-22 at this stage. Is because they run into the problem with self-identity before they hit learned skill to overcome obstacle. If you run into the self-identity problem over here, then you're going to figure it out and get yourself out. This is why some people heal and some people don't, is because the people who get to stage 3 used to have their self-identity and their purpose. And then it got derailed and they had to learn this skill. The people who never learned it had a problem with self-identity before they got to the learned skill to overcome an obstacle. So once you understand that, do you have a solution mindset? Are you able to help yourself? You had the stages 1, 2, 3 originally. You just got derailed, but you were able to get yourself back on track. If you never made it that far to stage 3, if you never learned the learned skill to overcome obstacles, then you got stuck at stage 1, and that you're probably still at stage 1. You may have gotten stage 1, then stage 2, and then you derailed and got back to stage 1. So this is where we see regression happening. This is why regression happens, is because you don't have this right here, which is the third ethical stage, which leads to these symptoms down here. It's absolutely amazing when you look at this. And this is something else I really want to show you, is the first stage, self-identity, is the first ethical stage. That's really what this is. Purpose is the first and second. It's the integration of the first and second ethical stage. That's what's going on there. And then the learning skill to overcome obstacles is the third ethical stage, which is the integration of the first and the second. And then the strategic steering is the fourth ethical stage. And then enjoyment and savory is the 5th ethical stage. But if you do not have a foundation on these 5 basic ethics, especially the first 3, this is your whole life. This is it right here. So this is why the 12 ethical stages, that's why we have the 12 ethical email challenge, is to revive this entire process by getting you back to the first, second, and third ethic and really honing in on those first 3 ethics. That is so vital. Everything else is a consequence and prerequisitional to those 3 ethics. You mess around with these 3 ethics, and your entire mental health is going to take a toll. All of mental illness is a neglect or a deprivation of the first 3 ethics. So the more first 3 ethics you have, the less mental illness you have. The more the first 3 ethics you have, the more ethical your life is. And the question comes down to is this. Ethical people, I love this so much. Ethical people will freeze and shut down with paralysis, with mental paralysis, long before they proceed unethically. I want you to really sit with this statement. Ethical people will freeze and shut down with mental paralysis long before they proceed unethically. For them, it's not an option, which is why people get stuck with passivity. The people who get stuck in this stage are so ethical that they would sooner shut down and not move than proceed unethically. The people who are here have actually less ethics than these people, because these people they won't move until they are guaranteed an ethical path. And then these people have completely and totally abandoned all ethics, and they've pushed their way through with problem solving unethically. And this is really when you understand how all of this is governed off of those ethics. The ethics are literally the stepping stones of life. And you've got only 3 options. Proceed ethically, don't proceed at all, or push your way through it unethically. Or you could abandon the ethics entirely. And like I said, now you're getting into the criminal mind. But look at the statistics of how many of us truly are hyper-focused on, I need this to be ethical. So that ethical people will freeze and shut down with mental paralysis long before they proceed unethically. Proceeding unethically is not an option. How much of it is an option is entirely, well, that is your ethical self-government. And that's really what it is. It's your ethical self-government that dictates all of this. Familiarizing yourself with ethical IQ. And this is what this is. This is your ethical IQ. Your ethical IQ is 100% responsible for the quality of your life and the type of life you are going to have. And if you have a low ethical IQ, life is going to be real fucking hard. If you have a high ethical IQ, life is a breeze. Life is easier or hard, literally, metrically, or in ratio to, in relativity to your ethical IQ. Now, if you are intuitively ethical, and this is different, you can be intuitively ethical. A lot of people are intuitively ethical. Intuitively ethical still means it's going to be hard. The intuitively ethical are the people who know when something is right and wrong. They don't have an ethical IQ. And I have to emphasize that. Intuitive ethics does not mean ethic IQ. You can have a high intuitive ethic and 0 ethical IQ. So that means you're going to guess right, which means you're going to kind of get this right, but it's still going to be very, very hard. Your ethical IQ is your conscious awareness working with your intuitive ethic to keep you on track. When I talk to people, I have a self-sailing system. The self-sailing system is a real story-like, playful way of saying to people, does it feel right? Does it feel good? Does it give you joy? It is the question, do you know what you want? Do you know what your dream is? And are you just listening to your intuition to get you there? If you are doing that, you are intuitively ethical. And people who are intuitively ethical, once they figure that out, oh, wow, if I listen to my intuition and just follow my intuition, life's really fucking easy. Now, they have a low ethical IQ. They don't understand that they're idiot savants in the world of ethics. That's really what it is. Ethical IQ are the idiot savants of ethics. They can't tell you how or why they lack all philosophy or understanding. They're just really tuned into their intuition. And the more in tune you are to your intuition, the more ethically on par you're going to be. It's extraordinary. And ethical IQ is when you add conscious awareness and strategic deliberation. We're going to write that down in my fancy schmancy words here. It is consciously aware plus strategic deliberation. So when you have all this together, when you finally have your ethical IQ higher, life navigation is amazingly simple. It's so easy. It is so easy. One of the biggest problems, I'm going to use the word easy. One of the biggest problems that people have is this. This is why life is hard. There's going to be a lot of, I have no tolerance for skeptics. I really have no tolerance for skeptics, and I will show you why. So there is the Shark Tank, and I've written a few articles on the Shark Tank. So here's the ultimate question. If you are living in the Shark Tank, life is hard. Period. The end. That's all she wrote. If you live in the Shark Tank, life is hard. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Now, there is outside of the Shark Tank, which is here. This is that space. And then there is the Guppy Tank. I live in the Guppy Tank. The Guppy Tank. When you understand that there are two tanks, there's actually a lot of tanks, and you realize that you've been living in the Shark Tank, taking advice, life advice from sharks. And this is it, is life advice. We're going to talk about this. Life advice from sharks. I don't take life advice from sharks because all they know about is the Shark Tank. The first rule of life advice from sharks is there is no other way. Oh, this is going to be a fun little thing we're going to do right now. This is going to be real fun. Emotions are wrong. Emotions are stupid. What other life lessons did we get from the sharks? Words don't matter. Yeah, they would think that. Realist and material world is all there is. Dreams are silly. Only children play. Are we all familiar with this, with these life philosophies? This is the life philosophy of a shark. Now, there's two kinds of people. Actually, it's more of an evolution. I'm going to call it an evolution. So we're going to do a little evolution line of the sharks. There are the full shark. There is the shark. And then there is the guppy who acts like a shark. And then there is the guppy. Which one are you? You are either a guppy, you are a guppy who acts like a shark, or you are a shark. Outside of the Shark Tank, you are a shark who acts You are a guppy who acts like a shark, who is trying to act like a guppy. This is where these people are. Guppies who act like guppies. So there you go. This is life, the universe, and everything. There you go. Living in the shark tank is hard. Maneuvering and navigating the shark tank is hard. Working with sharks is hard. Escaping the shark tank is hard. Learning outside of the shark tank how to act like a guppy is hard. The guppy tank is easy. The guppy tank is fucking easy. Triadic healing in the healing garden. All we do is take people out of the shark tank, groom them in the outside of the shark tank to restore them to their true guppy self, and then we drop them into the guppy tank. Done for you. Done for you. It's done for you. There you go. The healing garden. Is it done for you? I mean, we do all the formula, we just don't do the work. You have to do the work, but everything else is done for you. The healing garden is a done for you guppy tank. Yeah. It's the yellow brick road. It's the done for you yellow brick road to the guppy tank. That's what it is. Like truly, that's what it is. It's all about the language. It is 100% about the language. It's going from third person. It's that third person POV life to first person. And that's it. That is a huge solid part of it. And it's all in the language. So this is the Shark Tank analogy. And there's a lot of guppies. When they hear a shark talking to them, they know it's bullshit. And shark tanks are unethical. They are 100% unethical. They are unethical and fear-based. They are ethical and love-based. Skeptics live over here. Pessimists live over here. We have abundance over here, and we have optimism because, well, that's our reality. So you're literally cherry picking your reality. And Shark Tank believes there is no reality. They will have you believe there is no other reality. But there's like a whole community of the guppy tank where we're going, yeah, life is great. And one of the most amazing things, one of the things that really astounds me with the Shark Tank, the other thing I really want to put in here, there it is narcissists. This is the narcissist tank. That is 100% the narcissist tank. There are no narcissists in the guppy tank. There can't be. There cannot be. In fact, this is what's going on with these people right here, is they are purging the narcissism. Slave mind is a very, very, very common attribute here. Slave mind. Appropriation. That's the word. Appropriation. No appropriation. I could not remember that word yesterday. So over in the Shark Tank is 100% appropriation. Over in the guppy tank, there is no appropriation. So once you understand the two realities, the two lifestyles, the two sides of this, and that in-between stage where you are transitioning, this is where the healing stage is. This is the healing stage. That's right there where the healing stage is. If you are on a pilgrimage, it's the same thing. It's the transition from Shark Tank over to the guppy tank, or the outside of the Shark Tank over to the guppy tank. Some people who are in the guppy tank say, I want to go on a pilgrimage. And that's very, absolutely. That is a completely different mindset. When you think pilgrimage instead of healing stage, you're being honest with yourself. When you say healing stage, you're actually deluding yourself to think you're not on a pilgrimage. You're on a pilgrimage. You are absolutely on a pilgrimage. If you are in the healing stage, if you are going on a healing journey, you're actually on a pilgrimage. And because your mindset is healing and not pilgrim, that's why healing journeys last for 20 years. pilgrimages can last only a couple years. Literally, they last about 2 to 4 years max. And you set yourself straight almost immediately. When you finally admit to yourself that this isn't healing, this is life transformation, because you're transforming yourself from a shark over to a guppy, completely different mindset, very, very much. So these are the two different options. And everybody in the Shark Tank is going to do everything they can in their power to convince you that you are in a Shark Tank. It's normal, it's healthy, it's the way it is, and you just got to accept it. That's Shark Tank bullshit. And no one is telling you that there's another option. People who are outside of the Shark Tank are the people who sense that there's another option. So they've cast themselves out of the Shark Tank, or the Shark Tank was so violent that they threw themselves out, and they're flopping around. I call the outside of the Shark Tank the wilderness of nothing. Literally, the wilderness of nothing. That is what I call this stage, where you wander the wilderness without anything. The guppy tank is 100% the healing garden. This is where we are. This is where I built the healing garden, is in the guppy tank. On the other side of the wilderness of, actually, I built it in the middle of the wilderness of nothing where people can find it. So once you understand that the entire society is designed to function around the Shark Tank, and here's the thing is, you're a guppy who doesn't know it. And when you're a child, you're conditioned into a shark. So by the time you're 15, depending upon your appropriation, people aren't grown in the Shark Tank, they're appropriated. And this is something you really need to understand. This is the stages of appropriation. We're going to do that. Stages of appropriation. You are unappropriating yourself. That's what this is. You are unappropriating yourself. That's what you're doing over here. And then here, you're you. We grow and nurture over here. We don't appropriate. We grow and nurture. So there you go. There's the healing garden. There's where I am. So this is what we do. This is called human propagation. But human propagation doesn't exist in the Shark Tank. Not at all. So this is human. This is the lost science of human propagation. That's what this is. And the Shark Tanks do not want you to have this. They don't want you to have this because they are so, they've worked so hard to appropriate you. They have worked so hard to, they have an entire educational system designed to appropriate you so they can farm you for your resources. Absolutely. They don't want you to have human propagation because they've worked so hard to appropriate you. So that's the difference. Either you're appropriated or you're propagated. Completely different mindset. Completely different mindset. So now we're going to hop, skip, and jump back over to this one again, where when you look at this layout now, this is literally the appropriated life. And then this up here is the propagated. So you can either be appropriated or propagated. And there is a metric to this. It's not black and white, it's a spectrum. You have propagation and appropriation. Where are you on the spectrum? Where are you on your spectrum? And that is your story. That is 100% your story. Whether or not you were appropriated or propagated, and how much you resisted the appropriation, if you resisted it at all. I was born and raised to resist the appropriation. I literally had zero appropriation. I am 100% propagated, and I did so much to preserve and resist the appropriation. I was never appropriated, which is why my abuse was so severe. Is if you appropriate, you don't get abused. Did you hear what I just said? If you appropriate consensually, they don't abuse you. So the more you're abused is actually a metric on how much you resisted the appropriation. So if you have 50-50 appropriation propagation, you're going to have mental illness. If you had 20% appropriation and propagation, you're going to have that type of mental illness. The more you embrace propagation in the Shark Tank, the more abused you are going to be. So it's really And when you are, and this is it, is the propagation. Let's get my little zoomy thing here again. This is the propagation. This is where propagation happens. Now you're looking at it going, wow, we are not given self-identity. No, appropriation removes your self-identity right off. You don't have a purpose. Your purpose is to get a 9-to-5 job so the government can farm you. That is your purpose. That's what the schools teach you. That way you're thinking by the time you're 5, what job am I going to have so the government can farm me? Learn skill to overcome obstacles. Oh, they removed logic and problem solving from our schools. 100%. Logic and problem solving does not exist. That's why we only have math. And then strategic steering, again, these are skills. You guys know you don't have these skills. You guys know, well, I mean, you might have them skills. You might have found them on your own, but you know they're not available to you in our school systems. We know this. If your parents taught them to you, you are rare and lucky. You wouldn't be here if your parents taught them to you. And that's just it, this is why. This is literally Mother Nature's formula for human propagation and success. This is the shit that Pythagoras knew. This is the shit that Plato and Socrates and Aristotle knew. This is what Alexandria taught. This is why it's Pythagorean psychology. Down here are all of the symptoms of consequences of appropriation. So hop, skip, and a jump back over to this one, understanding the big picture of, are you in a shark tank and are you heading over to a guppy tank? Now, the shark tank is 100% slave and rape culture. 100%. Absolutely. It is an invisible slave culture and a rape culture. And there are places of the world, I can't even say places of the world. I was in Central New York when I had all this shit happen to me. So this invisible slave and rape culture that we have is the shark tank. That you are free so long as you obey and submit. And that's just it. It's freedom if you consensually obey and submit. And there it is. That is the term that comes with the shark tank. So this is the foundation of our rape culture. This is the foundation of life, prosperity, growth, nurturing, and happiness. This is the difference between choosing that ethical life or living in that shark tank. It's why business owners are going, what the hell? I want an ethical business. Why does everyone keep giving me garbage? This right here. This is why. Is because it is unethical and fear-based, because it is an appropriation. So if you're trying to build an ethical business, if you're trying to be ethical parents, if you're trying to be, you're not going to be okay. I've spoken to several people on this topic. This one is really at the core, is if you do not acknowledge this divide, this schism, then the healing garden is not going to work for you. And I have spoken to so many people who have this mindset, who are sharks and who want this. There is no cheat code, because the first rule of the healing garden is you need to be aware of what's really going on. Because if you are thinking, if you live in a shark tank, this is what sharks do, you're going to try and cherry pick the best of the healing garden and the ethics, and it's not going to work. Because we know in the healing garden, we know in the ethical world that there is no cheat to life. You can't cheat life. Sharks are cheaters. They are looking for the get-rich-quick garbage. You can't cheat. Mother Nature says no. And if you're not willing or able to do the genuine work, and that's it, is you have to be willing to do the genuine work to get the genuine results. And sharks will not do this. They do not value the genuine work. Their goal is to get the fruits. And that's just it. There are fruits to your labor over here. And what's going on, and we're really going to focus here on this. I really want to put this in, like, this is really what is the problem here. Is there are fruits that come from this type of a lifestyle. They are, we're going to call them, we're going to do this, people, forbidden fruits. But we're going to call them something else, because they're not just forbidden fruits. They are the natural, they are nature's. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you, my dear. They are nature's. I talk regularly to the universe, and she's right there. So they are nature's forbidden fruits. That's what these are. Nature's forbidden fruits, you gorgeous, beautiful bitch, you. Fucking off limits for anyone who doesn't do the genuine work. There's no way you can cheat the universe. She won't let you. Mother Nature is strict about this. And what you have is a bunch of sharks trying to get nature's forbidden fruits. It doesn't work that way. They've literally taken on Mother Nature. And as a result, they have this nightmare of the appropriation of the Shark Tank. There's one other thing that I want to talk about regarding this whole Shark Tank is it revolves around possession. I talk a lot about possession, and everything over here is love. It is love or possession. Those are your choice. And if you do not pursue ethical love, then you are going to get unethical possession. And possession is starved for nature's forbidden fruits. Access denied, which is like the moral lesson of all of the 12 ethics. You don't get it if you don't work for it. And she's so beautiful in this. This is the gorgeous, beautiful equilibrium of Mother Nature. Is nature's forbidden fruits are literally suspended on this beautiful golden tree in the middle of her garden, going, you want these? Oh, there's going to be 12 trials that you're going to have to go through 3 times to even touch my fruits. And the Shark Tank is so obsessed with possession that they've done everything they can to obtain and cheat the forbidden fruits of nature. And as a result, the people who are truly ethical, true ethics, are drowning in the Shark Tank going, what the fuck is wrong with the world? You were born in a Shark Tank and you're a guppy. That's what's wrong with the world. You were born in a Shark Tank and you're a guppy. So it's toughen up and become a shark or die. You know the feeling. We all know the feeling. And there's several types of sharks. There are consciously unaware sharks. We're going to go ahead and do this now. We're going to call these the types of sharks. Types of sharks. And the first type of shark is the oblivious and unaware. And I'm going to tell you right now, those are between the first and the fourth ethics. The second type is the aware, and this is where it's going to get into twos. There's the aware and surrendered. No, we're going to say submitted. Aware and submitted, and that might be your first. No, does the first know about it? We're gonna say we're just do all the ethics. It can be, well, up to the sixth. Up to the sixth. And then the next is going to be aware and trying. And that is your fifth and sixth ethic. Yeah. The majority of them are oblivious and unaware. And then unethical sharks. The unethical sharks I don't talk about these very often. It's a very, very disturbing subject. It really, really disturbs me. I have some videos on the criminal mind. It's the one time I stepped into it and indulged to explain it to people, and I am not going back. I don't like talking about it. These are serial killers and pedophiles. It is forensic crime. Forensic minds. Yeah, criminal mind. These are the people who are unethical and are bored. So they practice terrorism. as a game to entertain themselves. With a challenge. And they are 100% aware and strategic. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. So there you are. These are your types of sharks. These are absolutely your types of sharks. And once you have this big picture of what you're really dealing with, it changes everything. It absolutely changes everything. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. This gives a lot of foundation that we can start moving forward. And this video is one I recorded for literally every plugin. I have it for my Facebook group on the navigating the rape culture. This is fantastic for understanding the big picture if you are a business owner. It is fantastic for a healer looking to supplement their healing franchise or whatever it is they have available for their healing repertoire. This is fantastic for anyone working with Triadic Healing, and this is great for anyone who is working on the 12 Ethics Email Challenge. This is the overall big picture of literally human propagation. This is human propagation. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.